I'm Amber McCulloch, Executive Director, Kindergarten to Post-Secondary and Learning and Teaching Family Support at Puget Sound ESD. PSESD, or Puget Sound ESD, is one of 9 ESDs in Washington State. So like other states, sort of the regional hub model. And for us in particular, our end is success for each child and eliminate the opportunity gap by leading with racial equity. We knew that our districts would also be needing to do that reentry planning. And for us, really thinking about how do we frame that, again, leading with racial equity. And knowing that in coming back, there were lots of opportunities afforded by COVID-19 to come back and do things differently. So really thinking about how do we be transformational in how we're planning? Like how do we come back and not perpetuate the same systems that we had before that we knew were not racially just and humanizing? Something the partnership afforded was having set aside time to really think about the arc of learning. So how do we create space to be responsive and learn from what we've already done thus far to create this like learning pathway where we could keep going back to that and really think ahead about what do we think will be a need? What's on the radar? I think the greatest impact I've seen is certainly the hybrid model planning work group, because it met such a need that districts were having, and even being responsive within that. What was different about the hybrid model planning work group is that was brand new. That was a structure that came out of a voiced need from the group around, can we have some time really just devoted to hybrid model planning? The hybrid model planning work group, we met a lot more frequently. So there were quick turnaround planning meetings where it was getting together every week to really think about what's happening next week. How do we get ahead of that? How do we get agendas out so people know what's coming? One of the things that came out of this partnership is really thinking about, here's the work, we're doing the work, but how do we also have this view of, like a balcony view of looking at that work? And how does that inform how we approach change generally? Change will happen. And after this pandemic, there'll still be things we're changing. So what do we learn in this time about how we respond to change so that it helps us be better prepared to respond to change in the future? So I think that's something to take forward. I feel like us having an external partner to help us pause and be reflective also helped us to be that partner for districts to just ask some really key questions at points in the planning where it created an opportunity to think differently about doing things. Like, what are the pathways forward? Because there's multiple, there's not the one right way. I think a benefit of having an external partner is that you hold that time and you have someone who's holding you accountable in the best way to even just think about what's happening and revisit that and be thoughtful and intentional. And I think something that's important in any partnership is that being in relationship with one another, right? This idea of a transformational partnership. So it's not just we're joined together for the function of achieving this, like outcomes are important, but also thinking about what it truly means to be in partnership and to learn from one another. So it becomes not a performative activity, but a really authentic, rich learning experience.